In Louisiana, still without power. The company says 6 of the 8 main transmission lines that feed power into the metro area have been restored, but still about 600,000 customers don't have power. Some of the hardest hit areas like St. John, St. James, Tangipahoa, and some of the real southern parishes like Lafourche and Terrebonne, it could be a long time. As we said, in Lafourche and Terrebonne, St. Charles, Lower Plaquemines, they'll likely have to wait 3 weeks or maybe even more to get their power fully restored. We did just get an update from Entergy about their restoration efforts, and Danny Monteverdi was at that media briefing. And what are they saying right now, Danny?
Eric, it's really kind of a mixed bag right now. It's a patchwork of power right now. Long and short of it, let's just use Lakeview as just one anecdote right now. Last night, that's where I'm staying right now, we got power there, but driving through around 11 o'clock, 11:30 last night, there's still many parts of Lakeview that are without power. And again, that's just one snapshot of one neighborhood. Looking at the numbers themselves, Entergy says that at the peak, there were 902,000 customers without power. Today, there are 349,000 customers who are getting power, who can get it. They described this as, quote, unprecedented damage that they had to repair. So right now, it's about 1/3 of customers who can get power are able to get it. Now, some good news is that they said they have been able to do 100% of assessments, and that's basically trying to figure out what's wrong so they can make a plan to fix it. In some good news, they say hospitals in the area all have power back, so that's some positive news right there. In terms of the city proper, Orleans Parish, Entergy New Orleans, they're about 39% of customers are back on. 205,000 customers were once out, now 79,000 customers are back. So again, it's a kind of a mixed bag, and Eric, as you were saying, it's going to be a lot of just kind of hurry up and wait, unfortunately, for people in those outlying areas to get the power back.
Yeah, and even Entergy is saying don't trust the map. I know on my Entergy app, I looked at it last night, I was at a friend's house, and it said, your power's been restored, so I made a beeline home, and power was not restored.
No, and again, and it's just unfortunately the best phrase to use, it's just a patchwork right now. There's little things that can happen for different areas that may allow one block to get it, one block won't. In fact, and again, just using Lakeview just as an anecdote, since I was there last night, looks like the lake side of Harrison was on and the river side of Harrison was off. So even in certain neighborhoods, you're going to have little patches where there's still not power just yet. Now, they say they're working, every second of the day to get the power back on. And if you've been out there, you see there are linemen just swarming all over the city, and Jefferson Parish, and of course the outlying areas where they can get them. But that's the big thing too. In those outlying areas, there was just so much damage. We've seen it on a lot of video in the recent days, but unless you've been down there in person, it's really hard to comprehend the magnitude of just how damaged things are. And in fact, in terms of another number they gave, let's see, look at the notes here real quick. It's kind of an astounding number. I think they said it was 15,000, yeah, here we go, 15,000 miles of lines were damaged, 2,400 power poles down. So imagine that 15,000 miles of line were damaged, which now have to be repaired. And again, some of these hard-hit areas, especially Terrebonne, Lafourche Parish, parishes, those are going to be the areas that, as we've said a lot, unfortunately are going to be in the dark for a long time. Same for even closer in, like St. Charles and St. John. Just, again, catastrophic damage, really the likes of which we haven't seen so far. So again, this morning, it looks like about 1/3 of customers have power back, but still a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and we look at that, if you have poles up in your neighborhood, maybe your power will come on. A lot of places have trees that have fallen on poles, and it may knock out a whole neighborhood till they can get all that taken care of.
That's right, and cleanup is part of the situation right now as well. Every day, of course, it's getting better, but it's, again, if you've not seen a lot of this mess firsthand, it is just far-reaching and really kind of hard to describe. It's one of these things you really have to see. So there is that hurdle to get through to get the power back, and even when you get trees removed, for example, then you've still got to clean up the mess of the power poles and the transformers and the infrastructure and equipment. And so it's unfortunately for some people, it's going to take a lot longer than others. But the positive news is there has been a decent amount of restoration done in the city, far from perfect. Again, in Orleans Parish alone, just to look at that, Entergy says 39% of customers, so still half the city without power right now. But hopefully, again, today we'll see a little bit more come on. And it's nothing anyone wants to hear, but it's the old cliche we've been saying, just kind of, pack the patience right now, and we'll see what happens in the coming days.
And again, so many kudos to the the thousands of men and women who are out there on the front lines working, getting that power restored in this brutal heat. They're working long shifts. You know, people may be mad at energy, but for goodness sake, don't be mad at those people who are doing the yeoman's work of getting the power back on out in the field.
That's right. I mean, and again, if you're out and about right now, you don't have to look far or wide to see two things: damage and linemen. They are, it's all over the place, the damage, and the linemen are there too, doing what they can. And it's again, if you've traveled on I-10 like we've done recently, it's just kind of a cavalry right now of linemen coming in, trucks coming in. So again, the bodies are there. It's just, as we said, it's every corner of southeast Louisiana right now has some form of damage. And in a lot of cases, it is severe damage. In fact, we were driving up to Baton Rouge the other day, and just seeing, just anecdotally, this has nothing really to do with power in particular, but looking at the trees along I-10 through St. John and St. Charles parishes, I mean, snapped like matchsticks. And so again, that's how fierce these winds were. And these are, you know, trees that have been there a long time and sturdy trees, and then drive along Highway 90 through St. Charles Parish, for example. You know, you've got cinder block walls at buildings that have been knocked down. And so again, there's a lot of these power poles that just didn't fare well. And as you said, Eric, you know, debris in the lines, debris over poles. So you can't make those repairs until you can get that debris off, which is a job in and of itself. But again, the one good thing is they say they have made 100% of assessments at this point. So when they know what's wrong in theory, they can get the job going to figure out how to fix it and get the lights back on for people.
Well, that's good. All right, Danny, thank you very much for the update.